I'm continuing to read from chapter 8, The Real Deal, in my book, The Everlasting Gospel of Jesus, that's available to read for free in English, Spanish, or French on Kindle Unlimited, or it can be purchased. Taking up from where we left off, Judas was a thief, the thief that could cast out devils and heal the sick. Did you know that you can be a thief and cast out devils and heal the sick with the power of God? How can you do that? That's not right. You're deceiving people. How is that possible? Because Jesus is worthy. Because he is worthy, even if you are a sinner, he will let you try on the suit. Put this on. Put this on. It feels good. I know you will like it. That was 6 days before the Passover. Judas was complaining about not selling the spikenard and selling it to give to the poor. 4 days later, 2 days before the Passover, there was another dinner where spikenard showed up. After 2 days was the Feast of Passover. The chief priests were seeking how they might take hold of Jesus by craft and put him to death. Being in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, a woman came in with an alabaster flask of ointment of spikenard. Where did the woman pour the spikenard? On Jesus' head. Where were they? They were in the house of Simon the leper. They were not in Lazarus' house. Where was the spikenard poured? On Jesus' head, not on his feet. And it was not Mary that came in with the box of spikenard. It was a woman, somebody they did not know. This was not 6 days before the Passover. It was 2 days before the Passover. The only similarities between these events were it happened at Bethany, Jesus was there with his disciples, and there was spikenard. But it was a completely different event. Different place, different time, different person, taking different actions. This was 4 days after the supper at Lazarus' house. Something happened between 6 days before the Passover and 2 days before the Passover. What happened? Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey, and everyone was saying, Hosanna, and laid down palm branches. Then he entered the temple and knocked over the tables of the money changers and made whips and beat the people who sold doves out of the temple. He did that twice in that 4 days. And the chief priests and the Pharisees are mad at him. He did that 2 of those 4 days. And the chief priests and Pharisees were planning to trap him. There were some who had indignation within themselves and said, Why was this waste of ointment? There were some. This was not just Judas. There were others. The message that Judas brought to Lazarus' house 4 days ago is spreading. Now there is a committee. 4 days ago, it was a pound of spikenard. Today, it is a box of spikenard. That is just too wasteful. So now there are some who agree with Judas against Jesus. This demonstrates Judas' power among them. These men had a real deal with the real deal, but there was a thief among them. He was not just stealing money, he was also stealing power. He was having an impact on the kingdom. When he left Simon's house, he would have a greater impact on the kingdom because he had a plan in his heart to steal Jesus. He was making plans to sell Jesus. Judas was never satisfied with the kingdom of God. Peter was different. Even Peter was adversely impacted by the zealots. Jesus told him that Satan had tried to sift him as wheat, but Jesus had prayed for him. Jesus told Peter, before the cock crows twice, you will betray me 3 times. Then Peter tried to cut off the ear of the servant of the high priest when they came to take Jesus because he wanted to defend Jesus. That was the spirit and attitude of the zealots. Peter was trying. He did not want to deny the Lord. Peter said, "No, I will never betray you." He wanted to serve the Lord. Peter had the kingdom in his heart. He did not know how to do it, but he was trying to bring the kingdom of God. Judas was different from Peter. He had his own ideas and plans. He was trying to use Jesus to make his plans and agenda happen. He was not satisfied with the way Jesus was doing things. He believed he could accomplish more with Jesus' power and gifting than Jesus was. Judas thought he knew what to do and could run it himself. You may think that too. Jesus is not doing it right. I prayed and asked him for something, and Jesus has to give it to me because this is what I need to move on in my life. If you're not trying to do what Jesus said, but are trying to get what you want from him, you are trying to steal Jesus. He speaks, and the sound of his voice is so sweet, but you are afraid to hear it. You will not listen to him because you are afraid that he will say it is not for you. No, 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 no. That is what we do not want to hear. No. You better believe God can say no. You will not have the thing you want. That is why you are trying to steal it. You can get to the point where you are willing to steal Jesus. Judas sold Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. 1/2 shekel of silver was what it cost for you to be able to take your sacrifice and offer it in the temple. So 30 pieces of silver would give you the opportunity to offer sacrifices 60 times. That is what they paid Judas. 60 sacrifices were offered to God for them to have that 30 pieces of silver. The money to pay Judas came from the treasury of the temple. 60 people paid the sacrifice in the temple, and their money went to pay Judas for Jesus. After Judas saw what the chief priests were doing to Jesus, Judas wanted to change his mind. There are many opportunities to change your mind. Judas had 3 years to change his mind. The time to change your mind is before you sell Jesus. There is the time right now to change your mind. This may be the last chance you ever have to change your mind because you are about to go through it. You are about to sell him out. You are about to do what he told you you could not do. This is the real deal with the real deal. Not playing church. Talking soul to soul. This is a message for you. Jesus told me this. This is the God who made you, speaking of the soul that is in you. Come clean. You have an excellent opportunity. You can heal the sick. You can cast out devils. You can set people free. You can help people to be prosperous. You can help people to find the life that God has for them. But you cannot steal Jesus.